Well, meanwhile, the world of Hollywood has been torn apart by a brand new controversy. This is the controversy between a human named Justin Baldoni and another human named Blake Lively. Now, you've probably heard of Blake Lively because she's an actress who's married to Ryan Reynolds. Justin Baldoni is significantly less famous, but they did make a movie together called It Ends With Us. The log line for that film is, quote, when a woman's first love suddenly re-enters her life, her relationship with a charming but abusive neurosurgeon is upended, and she realizes she must learn to rely on her own strength to make an impossible choice for her future. So it sounds totally awful. I, of course, have not seen a film like that because I have testicles. So that's not a man movie. That is a movie that is made for. In any case, this film became the subject of 1,000 think pieces and 2 massive lawsuits because, as it turns out, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, who are the stars of the film, and Baldoni directed it, they didn't get along. Apparently, rumors of a feud began during their promotional tour in August 2024. There was speculation that Blake Lively had actually brought in her husband, Ryan Reynolds, to help take over creative control of the film, and Baldoni wasn't showing up at press events. And then Baldoni hired Johnny Depp's crisis management and PR professional, a person named Melissa Nathan, to represent him. Lively herself was doing some kind of strange things during her press tour. She was criticized for her tone-deaf approach to the movie, which is supposedly a fairly serious movie about abuse and all the rest. Here, for example, she was doing a strange interview.
But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could
That's weird. He's literally asking, what would you say to somebody who is talking about abuse? And she's like, you want my phone number? Like, what is happening right now? And then apparently an interview with a journalist named Kirsty Flaw resurfaced from 2016, in which she was being very, very weird with her co-star from a movie called Cafe Society, which was a Woody Allen film.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got 2 nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are
You
you
like the
gonna-
movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in digital.
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I love Jesse's
He has
suits
some
and
beautiful.
how
That's what I'm
he
saying. His wardrobe was beautiful.
I know.
Corey's
Everybody.
wardrobe
I
was
know.
gorgeous.
He's
Those
so
high-waisted pants.
He's so great.
I wish men
And
wore
sorry,
high-waisted
too.
pants
I
like that
know.
still.
Me
Or
too.
the father with his tank top in
Oh,
bed.
it's so
Just
good.
it's just like
Did you
that.
catch
You could
the,
feel
the
it.
tablecloth
Oh my God.
on the
Look at the interview. The
right
interview's like,
in the
what's happening
Italian
right now?
restaurant when they eat spaghetti
I didn't
in
notice
it.
that. No.
But
That is
there's
a,
so
I
much
feel like-
warmth of everything,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
man,
not
they're
just
weird.
the women that have the clothes.
But
I
it's
feel
a period
like we get
piece.
the conversation, but it's like
Yeah.
every detail with everybody.
But yeah,
It's so,
it was
so
amazing
beautiful.
to look at.
okay, so first rule of Hollywood, actresses are very largely weird. I'm just going to put that out there. Also, I didn't realize that Parker Posey had done a movie since Coyote Ugly. Right? I didn't realize that she was still a working actress. In any case, in December, Blake Lively filed a legal complaint against Baldoni's Wayfarer studio. She claimed harassment, retaliation, failure to investigate or prevent harassment, aiding and abetting harassment, breach of contract, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, false light, invasion of privacy, interference with prospective economic advantage. And Lively had set forth a list of 30 HR-related demands to be met by Baldoni and his production company. Those demands included no more showing nude videos and images to Lively or her employees, no mentions of Baldoni's addiction or discussions of personal encounters, no more inquiries about Lively's religious beliefs or weight, and all intimate scenes to be highly choreographed in advance. Well, as we will explore in a moment, many of these accusations are taken wildly out of context. And because you hear that, initially you're going to be sympathetic to the actress who's accusing and director of that sort of activity. But it turns out not so much. Well, she then apparently went to the New York Times, and the New York Times did a giant propaganda piece on her behalf, talking about how dare Justin Baldoni defend himself with the PR campaign. The New York Times says, quote, she claimed Baldoni had improvised unwanted kissing and discussed his life, including encounters in which he said he may not have received consent. Mr. Heath, the producer Jamie Heath, had shown her a video of his wife naked, she said, and he had watched Miss Lively in her trailer when she was topless and having body makeup removed, despite her asking him to look away. She said both men repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding. And then the hit piece had a bunch of text messages and emails between Baldoni and his PR team. Baldoni ended up being dropped from William Morris Agency, which is one of the biggest agencies in the world. Lively claimed that she missed hosting SNL because of the Baldoni smear campaign. And then Baldoni is now counter-suing. He sued the New York Times for $250 million. He claims that Ryan Reynolds aggressively berated him. Lively then sued Baldoni officially. And yesterday, Baldoni sued Lively and Reynolds for $400 million. Well, joining us online to discuss the details of this salacious story is my friend Megyn Kelly, journalist and host of The Megyn Kelly Show. Okay, Megyn, so I need you to walk me through the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni scandal here, because I will be frank with you, until my producers put this on my agenda, I literally had no idea this was happening because I've not seen a movie with either of these people, I think maybe ever. So explain.
Yeah. Okay, here's the top line. It's a dispute between two Hollywood actors that's, on every one of the tabloid magazines, et cetera. And effectively what I think has happened here, and the reason I think people are interested in this, is because she has made herself into the new Amber Heard and he is the new Johnny Depp. That's what's caught people's attention. She had a round of negative publicity when this movie she did, It Ends With Us, about domestic violence, across from which she starred from Justin Baldoni, who was the male actor lead and was also the director and producer of the movie. So they starred in it, came out. She suffered through a round of somewhat negative press because, as often happens when these stars drop a movie, people start digging around for other interviews of them, et cetera. And it was just sort of a course of, wow, like, she seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean. And to people who are less powerful than she is, less well-known than she is, and so on. Let's not forget she's married to Ryan Reynolds, who's one of the biggest stars in the world. His fame dwarfs hers. But the point is, she's a part of a power couple. And whatever, it kind of passed. It was over. But like a lot of thin-skinned Hollywood types, she couldn't stand the fact that it was still lingering in any way out there. And she decided to file a complaint with the California Human Rights Division. But that was really, I believe, and it is alleged by Justin's lawyers now, just to set up so that she could give the New York Times cover to do a huge hit piece on him and attempted rehab of her, saying, oh, that wasn't an organic round of bad press. Really, it was Justin Baldoni and his PR team trying to hurt her. And the reason he allegedly did this is because she'd accused him during the filming of the movie of sexual harassment. So she's a Me Too victim. He's a villain. And all the negative press you saw about her was astroturfed. Okay, that was her opening shot. Well, Justin Baldoni did a very smart thing, and he hired Brian Friedman, my lawyer who represented me in my fight with NBC. And let me tell you, you could ask for no better. He knows how to fight, and he will find where all your bodies are buried, on the other side. And there are a lot of bodies for Blake Lively. So he's first filed a defamation lawsuit against the New York Times for their totally irresponsible report about this matter, in which they made a mistake, so egregious mistakes, intentional errors, you could argue, about this case that showed, for example, a text showing how Justin and his PR team were out to smear poor innocent Blake, conspiring, saying, look at this article in the Daily Mail saying she's terrible and she's about to be canceled. And the other PR hack writes back, you're that good. And the first PR hack writes, yeah, can you believe me? This is part of their evidence against the evil Justin team. And then Brian Friedman and his lawyer in his legal complaint against the Times shows you the whole text exchange, which the Times had, we presume, in which they use a sarcasm emoji, and the woman saying, I did it, explicitly says, except I didn't do it. And they're lamenting that they didn't do it, but everybody's going to think that they did do it, but they didn't. That's one piece of it. Now in this lawsuit that he just filed again, this is a second lawsuit by Brian Friedman on behalf of Justin. This is against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR hack. And what they're alleging is that they had nothing to do with that negative round of press that Blake suffered last summer, that it was organic, but that they did have internal PR meetings about what they might have to do because this woman, Leslie Sloan, who works for the Ryan and Blake, was dropping hit piece after hit piece on Justin, and that Blake had spent the entire prior year trying to wrest control of this movie away from Justin Baldoni. It was his film. He was the director. He's the producer. He's the one who found the book and got the idea for it. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film, even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical bully.
We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, if you're a homeowner the way I am, when is the last time you actually checked the title to your home? If the answer is you've never done that, you need to know about an alarming crime the FBI calls house stealing. It all comes down to a single document called a quitclaim deed. Criminals can forge these documents using your information, add a fake signature, and obtain a notary seal online for just a few bucks. Once filed with county officials, your home can be transferred out of your name without your knowledge. But here's what's really happening. These scammers aren't after your house, they're after your equity. They use your property as collateral for loans, then they vanish, leaving you with a devastating financial and legal mess to clean up. Fortunately, there is a solution. Home Title Lock offers triple lock protection, which includes 24/7 monitoring of your title, immediate alerts if anyone attempts to modify it, comprehensive restoration service if fraud occurs, all at no extra cost. Our own senior video editor, Adam, trusts them to protect his home. You can do the same. The first step is to check on your home's title to make sure you're not already a victim. You can get a free title history report and a 30-day free trial of triple lock protection today by going to HometitleLock.com and using promo code Shapiro, or click on the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com. Promo code Shapiro. Don't wait until it's too late. That's HometitleLock.com. Promo code Shapiro. What about these sexual harassment allegations? When he first read those, I read that New York Times piece, and the allegations, just the way the Times reported them, seemed pretty bad. It was like, oh, he's showing her, one of the producers is showing her naked pictures of his wife. He's talking about they walked in on her while she was breastfeeding, even though she'd said not to. But it turns out that on like any level of examination, a huge percentage of this seems to fall apart, correct?
Yes. So Brian Friedman, in that first lawsuit against the Times, produced the text messages, and I've seen them all. And it shows that, take the two that you alleged. The alleged that they subjected poor Blake Lively to was by Justin's business partner, who is a producer of the film from Wayfair, that's the name of their company, who she has a birth scene in the movie. And he showed her a still shot from his wife's delivery of their child, which I've also seen. You can't see any R-rated parts at all. It's actually a really lovely artistic photo of a husband with his arms around his wife in a bathtub and the baby on top of the wife. There's no vag, there's nothing, right? It's like, it's not by any stretch of the imagination, but poor Blake was subjected to this picture, which is just an example of how she loves to play the victim. And then the one about, oh, he burst in on me uninvited when I was breastfeeding my child. She says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over. So it's like, it's written there, black and white. She invited him in, and a lot of women are comfortable having someone around when they breastfeed. So it's not so weird, especially out in Hollywood, for him to assume, yeah, I guess she's fine with this because she did let him in. Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly. He had them over to their penthouse in New York, and Taylor Swift was believed to be there, according to this latest complaint, who's Blake Lively's BFF. And what they allege is that they blacked out a lot of names, but we think it's Taylor, that the three of them sat there and they berated Justin for things that were going on the set that they didn't like. They took control of the script. Blake personally, with Ryan's help, rewrote scenes. Again, not within the purview of an actress. And then after that, they have text messages in which Blake tells Justin, this is in the latest lawsuit, I know you've never watched Game of Thrones, but when you get around to watching it, you'll realize I'm Khaleesi and these are my dragons. And I have the best dragons in the business, right? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. And what they're alleging is that, let's face it, none of us has ever heard of Justin Baldoni before this whole thing. I mean, who the hell is he? I guess he's in some small thing I never saw, but she's saying, F with me and we'll crush you. My dragons and I, the biggest movie star, one of them in the planet, the biggest pop star in the planet, and I will hurt you unless I get my way. So her allegations have fallen apart, and her, I was not really a bully, I was just targeted allegations have fallen apart. And now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully. She was the one harassing him. And this guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
So, I mean, this is all more fascinating than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. And I have to say that the blowback to Ryan Reynolds, I think, is going to be pretty severe because his whole image is this cool guy who's very easy to get along with, friends with everybody, jokey. But if it turns out that he's standing sort of in the wings and the shadows, ready to go after anybody who crosses Blake Lively's bizarre machinations, that's not a great look for him.
No, and by the way, good luck to Blake Lively in getting hired again because all of her diva antics are coming out and the way she behaves behind the scenes. And now this with the lawsuit and the New York Times thing, because she's now filed against him as well. So it's a terrible move by her and them PR-wise. But Ryan Reynolds, one of the things he allegedly exploded on Justin Baldoni over was alleged fat shaming of Blake, because I guess when she was shooting this movie, she was postpartum and she was trying to get back into shape. Well, now they've produced the text messages, Baldoni and team, in this latest lawsuit against her, showing Justin being like, don't worry about any of that. We can shoot any scenes that require, exposure toward the end of the movie when, you feel better about things. This is the last thing you should have to worry about. I got you, right? The alleged fat shaming that Ryan Reynolds went off on him over, that's all over her lawsuit that he's been excoriated for in the press, the left-wing press, was when he went to it was either his trainer or her trainer or the trainer on the set. And he asked how much Blake weighs. And that it was like, how dare he, right? How dare. Turns out Justin Baldoni, this has been documented, has serious disc issues and was actually in the hospital for like 2 months after this film wrapped because of his disc issues and was worried because he had to pick her up in a scene, like, officer and a gentleman style. And he was very concerned about his discs. He didn't want to go to her and be like, hey, how much do you weigh? Because no man wants to do that. So he goes to the trainer to say, can you let me know? He didn't give to, you see the text with him and Blake being like, please don't worry about this at all. I got you. It's just the picture they're painting of him is so gross. It's another Amber Johnny situation, in my opinion.
Wow. That is a wild story, and I appreciate you sharing all those details with me that I certainly would not have read on my own. Megyn Kelly.
Get you?
You got me. I'm interested in this now, which is why you have to listen to the Megyn Kelly Show. Everybody go tune over to Megyn's show. She does a great job with all the issues, including this one. Megyn, really appreciate the time, and congratulations on next week. Next week will be awesome. Inauguration week. You got big plans?
Oh, wow. Congratulations to us all.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a big one. And God bless, because I think those executive orders we're going to get before he even finishes the inaugural ceremony are going to have us celebrating, cheering, and then going to start changing the country immediately.
Your mouth to God's ears. Appreciate it, Megyn. Good to see you.
See you, my friend.
Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.